What happened next in terms of your journey, the journey through cancer? You've already taken quite a few steps already from your description.
Yes.
But what was the next step? Was it trying to get back into the, you get your life back really into what you previously had? Because you were working, of course. We haven't mentioned that yet.
Yes, I was working a few sessions a week in a health environment where I was used to speaking to other patients and people, and that made that quite hard for me because obviously I'd had the mental outlook before I got diagnosed that obviously the illness and things was something that I coped with for other people and it happened to them. When I actually got told I was the patient and I had to cope with those things physically, mentally and emotionally, that was a big challenge for me, very big challenge. And basically when I got to the end of my journey and I'd had this support from psycho-oncology, I still had that relationship by going there at intervals, that support of speaking to them and being on medication. And gradually through that process I went back to work. I was able to cope emotionally with a lot more. I was able to get through my Herceptin treatment. I was able to talk about my illness more. I had a lot more of a positive outlook and attitude after that. And I actually, not only did I go back to work, I went on to do the moonwalk for breast cancer to fundraise for them, which was a huge step really physically to do that, organise it. And I became a lot more positive and I wanted really the outcome to be good, and it was for me. I used something negative in the experience and turned it into something positive. I also started talking to a lot more people about it who had breast cancer, some of the support groups, which again I learnt about through the psycho-oncology support and to some extent the breast care nurses at the hospital. And now I intend to fully go on and maximise that experience and expand on it in order to help other people, with breast cancer through my experience.
Now, one really meaningful thing you said in there to me is about taking that negative, which could be something small that happens, or it could be this big thing, the whole diagnosis, and trying to turn it into something positive or something that you can say, well, it was a challenge, but this is what I'm going to do with it in my life. This is how I'm going to add it to my life and then improve myself.
Yes.
How can you actually do that though? Because a lot of people who are receiving a diagnosis for the first time perhaps would not be thinking this is a positive. They'll be thinking this is all negative.
I think that somebody said to me that was very positive. One of the doctors when I was first diagnosed said, this is the worst day of your life, but it's also the best day of your life because we have found cancer and we're able to deal with it, and it's at an early stage. During that time and basically all through the treatment I never felt like that because I was numb with dealing with it and I couldn't think positively. It was only the fact when I got some help with the depression that I was feeling through the treatment and the loneliness and the isolation by talking and getting support from the psycho-oncology team that I was able then to see through the fog really and start to think more about myself, what I would like, that there was a future for me and that it wasn't all doom and gloom, and it wasn't all, although I had a scary time, I had got through it. I was brave enough to go through that, and that because I'd done that, I wanted to move on then. I wanted to move on. I wanted to ask something back of life, if you like. I wasn't just a cancer patient. I was a cancer patient that had come through it, wanted to help others, and that gave me a great buzz. That was very, very positive. That feeling of wanting to do something positive, either through educating people to look for symptoms, to encourage them always to go for checkups, fundraising to get funds into research for the illness, or to help with support groups or services. And that really has given me a big positive. You know, I intend to make that quite a big part of my life now, because it's something that I get a great deal of positive energy back from as well.
That might relate to something you said earlier, which is about taking control over things.
Yes.
Rather than just feeling you're just a person who they're doing things to, you're actually, you've got a role and you've got a purpose, and that's going to be something that gives you some fulfillment and helps other people.